Hello everybody, welcome back to another reading. Today we are going to do a slightly different lighting setup. Normally I would record my readings in the morning or afternoon, but today I'm recording it in the evening. And so I had to set up an extra lamp to make sure that the shadow of the camera hovering above was not constantly visible. So we are going to see some different shadows today, but hopefully the glare will not be too bad. In any case, we're taking a look at the case of a Korean actress, and since this is a Korean case, I'm probably not going to pronounce the names quite right. From what I heard, her name is Jang Ja Yeon, and she died in 2009. She had been called on that day, March 7th, by her sister, or had called her sister, and during that conversation she had mentioned that she had experienced overwhelming stress and that she wanted to hurt herself. Her sister, after that phone call, tried to text her a few times and call, and she did not answer anymore. Around 7:42 p.m., the sister went to the house and found her hanging from the banister of the stairs. The police very quickly ruled it a suicide, and the case was closed fairly quickly as well, even though there was a whole document written by her with a whole bunch of names that she accused of abusing her and having been forced to do things with them against her will in order to get jobs in the acting world. And apparently that was not unusual, because it's kind of like the casting couch in Hollywood, if you know what I mean. In order to get good roles, you have to do certain things, and she was trying to expose that, although the document that she wrote was apparently requested by her agents, who was going to start a case against these people. At least that's what they claimed. And shortly after writing that document, she was found hanging from the banister of the stairs. Now, this case has been closed sometime in 2009, but was reopened in 2019 when other cases came up and people started to look more into this type of abuse being carried out within this industry. Her case was looked into again, but nobody was actually sent to prison for a long period of time. I believe the CEO of her agency was sent to prison for about 4 months, but that's basically just a slap on the wrist. Her agent, though, the one who asked her to write the document, was sent for, I think, 2 years to prison just for ruining the name of the CEO or something along those lines. So basically, the higher-ups got away with it, and the person that was going to expose them got jail time instead, and the one who actually wrote the letter with all their names in it passed away mysteriously. So even though there was new attention focused on this case, there was no further evidence gathered, or rather no conclusions were made, and in other words, she still does not have justice. One thing I found interesting, by the way, is even though that agent of hers claimed that he was going to do something good, he was later asked by the family to burn that document, or by several people at least, to burn that document, or the 7-page letter of names that she had written down. And he had done so, but he had made copies of it beforehand because he was thinking about maybe selling it to the media at some point. So even though he was trying to do a good thing, at least according to what he was saying, he was definitely looking at a book deal or some other way to get money out of it, out of this tragic situation. So we don't really know anything about who may have come to visit her that day, whether she did it herself or anything along those lines. That is why we're looking at this case with the tarot. I'm using a deck that I haven't used before for these readings. This is the Hush Tarot deck, which is this one. So we're going to have to see how that goes. And for any further questions, we're moving on to the Urban Tarot deck, which is this one, with the modern imagery. Oh, you can see a little bit of lighting like this. This is better. So more modern imagery on the Urban Tarot deck, as you can see. If you have any cases, by the way, before we get started, that you would like me to take a look at sometime in the future, make sure to check out the description. I have a link there to a Google form that you can use to leave the name of the person or the case and a short description if you should have some. It's completely anonymous, so I won't see who is submitting what, and eventually we'll get to it if I can. So without much further ado, I'm just going to start shuffling the deck. As soon as I have like a table full of cards here, we're going to stop and take a look. So let's get started. Okay, let's see what we've got. We're starting off at the top left with the Queen of Pentacles, the Nine of Pentacles, and we have the Five of Wands in reverse. Right, let's grab these. So we're starting off with somebody who is fairly practical as well as apparently doing fairly well for themselves, because the Nine of Pentacles is somebody who is definitely well off. But then we have the Five of Wands in reverse. So this is like a struggle happening over here. So somebody who was fairly comfortable is now suddenly struggling. I need to make sure not to angle it into the light. So this person is encountering some issues, and the Wands is often like a action deck or a suit, I should say. I think that this is somebody, well, it's in reverse, so it could be that they're struggling with something internally. So this is somebody who has a lot of stuff sorted out financially, business-wise, but there's something struggling underneath because it's in reverse, and it's also the card itself has a whole bunch of snakes on it, or is it just one snake? No, it looks like at least 3 snakes on this card that I see. So this is almost like something that tends to writhe in the underbelly, like something that just doesn't sit right, something along those lines. It just keeps moving. It's kind of the opposite of butterflies that you tend to feel when you like have love at first sight type stuff happening. This is more of the I don't know, it's not really going down well gut feeling that we're looking at. So somebody is not feeling too good about something, even though they appear to be successful. So this could already be Jang herself, Jang Ja. Next, we have the Page of Wands in reverse. We have the Knight of Wands upright and the Tower. All right, so the Page is normally a fairly adolescent energy. In this case, it may be an action that was taken that was not very wise, not very well thought out. We do have a Knight of Wands here, which is usually somebody who charges ahead and does things a little bit impulsively. A little bit more mature than the Page, though. The Page may be even more impulsive. So this may be a meeting of 2 people that came together and thought, you know what, we should do this thing. This might be the moment where they decided that they were going to write everything down and thinking that they were going to make big changes. And also this thing here in the background, it's almost like an automaton that's being led by this Page. Like they thought that they were going to lead the bull by the horns, I feel. And feeling pretty good about it, because this little drawing there on the chest is the sun. So I think that they felt fairly hopeful about the chances of them being successful. But then we see the Tower, which is always a surprise moment. They probably were expecting some trouble, but it was more than they were expecting, it looks as though, because the Tower is often a very big change. So that's the result of their actions. Now we have the next row, a Two of Swords. We have a Two of Cups in reverse, and then we have the Five of Pentacles. Okay, so fairly clear story so far. We're still following this narrative of them having done something that turned out not to be such a smart idea. We have the Two of Swords, which is normally like being of 2 minds. I am looking at the face on the ground, though. I think this is supposed to be some type of robot face. This is a mask, actually, that's been cast off. So this could be considering whether or not they want to continue to wear a mask. And in her case, I imagine this could be the moment where that I could pretend that nothing's wrong and that wasn't me who wrote that, or maybe I do have to actually stick with it and stick with my guns and say I really believe that this needs to change. So she may have been kind of going back and forth between, should I don the mask again and try to be a good puppet for the people that hang over me, basically, or are in control of my success, or should I really just leave the mask on the ground and come out truthfully? Now the Two of Cups is in reverse, so this looks as though there is a breakup in a certain relationship, and this could be a work relationship as well as romantic, probably work relationship. Like her accomplice may have kind of stabbed her in the back, or she may have decided that they were not going to work together anymore because things had changed so much that they just couldn't see themselves doing that anymore. And then we end up here with the Five of Pentacles, which is a bankruptcy type of thing. Moral, emotional, with resources, financial. I think this may be her staring the future in the face, where she may no longer have a job. So I think this is her being worried about losing her career, which is slightly less damaging than what actually happened. But you know, if you have gained all your success and wealth because of a certain bunch of people doing things to you, and then you suddenly say no, then I think in that moment you really feel them bearing down on you. And then I think the first thing you would think about is just how much you stand to lose. She didn't quite know how much she was about to lose yet. We have here the Knight of Cups, which is in reverse. We have here the Six of Wands, and we have the Seven of Cups as well, also in reverse. Okay, so Knight of Cups. Knight of Cups is somebody who normally only really thinks about their own emotions, is very much self-absorbed. Could be that this is a moment of withdrawal as well from society, trying to take a moment for yourself, but it looks like it wasn't working. Or it could be that somebody was actually manipulating her, because this crow appears to be holding a wooden cross with strings attached, which I think is something you often see attached to puppets, like marionettes, stuff like that. So maybe whoever this is was trying to influence other people emotionally. This could be somebody else other than her. We have what I said, the Six of Wands. Six of Wands is normally somebody who is lauded, celebrated, somebody who is seen as a victor of some sort. May also be somebody who is favored in the public eye. Could be that this is an attempt of hers to say, you know what, you can't hurt me because so many people know me and they love what I do, they love my work, they love the characters that I play, stuff like that. Almost like an appeal to authority almost. And then that is followed by the Seven of Cups in reverse, which is basically saying that there's nothing left to wish for. Seven of Cups is normally like this person looking at several different things that they could wish for, and they're trying to select one that they could go for as set as their goal. But I think in this case, since it's in reverse, there is nothing left to wish for. And I think that it may be wishful thinking, as in woulda, shoulda, coulda. If only I'd done things differently, we could be doing something else right now. That type of vibe is what I'm getting from this card. So I think in this part over here with these three cards, somebody came in, tried to manipulate her, and she tried to basically play the I am famous card, or well, tried to play it, and perhaps that didn't lead to what she was hoping for, which is why we're seeing the Seven of Cups in reverse, because there is no hope, there are no other wishes to be made. Now let's go take a look at the Urban Tarot deck. What happens next? Because this looks like a confrontation. This over here was her just worrying about her job, and now we're looking at, oh, here come the actual consequences. Now let's see what happens next. Oops, that's already quite a lot. How many do we have here? 5? All right, so the Five of Pentacles continues, and this card is even called Worry. I think this person, whoever showed up at her house, was definitely trying to intimidate them. And we have here Defeat, the Five of Swords, so they definitely had a verbal confrontation which she did not win. And then we have the Ace of Swords, and that is perhaps another attempt at reasoning with them, but it failed because it's also in reverse. Also the Arc over here, I think this is the Arc de Triomphe from France, I'm not really sure. So basically triumph is not had here. Then we have the Seven of Wands, which is normally somebody coming for your position It's also in reverse, followed by the Eight of Swords, which is a mental entrapment. So the cards are really turning against her at this point. She tries desperately to appeal several ways to this person who comes to her, but it's just no use. And I think the Eight of Swords may reference the person who came to visit her as much as her herself. Like they both were in this mental mindset, like, oh, it's just not going to work any other way. This is the end of the line, or at least whatever they had decided on. There was no way out of that. Maybe the person who came to visit her, if there was such a person at all, because of course, disclaimer, this is entertainment purposes only. We're not going to accuse anybody. But yes, they may have orders from somebody higher up, and they may not have had the option to turn around and leave her be. That's kind of what that seems to be pointing at. Also, the Seven of Wands can be somebody coming for your position, but it's in reverse. I could also see that combined with the Eight of Swords as I really don't have much against you, but it's just the way it has to be. Which is also why the Ace of Sword idea or initiative was not agreed upon. Let's see what happens next. What do we need to know next? Okay, so the Aeon over here is Judgment. So I think this is the part where they carried out what they considered to be a judgment of her actions. I'm tempted to say what they would think would be justice, but this is rather just carrying out the order, so to speak. Which I think we all know what that led to. Then what? Because now we have cards that are saying that she definitely didn't do it to herself. At least I don't see that. Because why would she be arguing with herself and coming for her own position? That makes no sense. So I think this is definitely somebody coming for her. Are we going to see any justice for her? Is the person who ordered this or carried this out or both going to be brought to justice, or at least be brought to light? There we go. So the Two of Swords is out, and this basically means when it's in reverse, like there is only one option. We are not going to consider anything else. I think that whoever did this, whoever ordered this, is still convinced that that was the right thing to do, and I don't think this means that they're going to come forward to confess anytime soon. So they're definitely not planning on revealing their hand. At least not according to that card. Let's see what else we can get. Oh, that one. Did a little spin. It is Seven of Swords. So this is deceit. Seven of Swords is often lying, manipulating, that type of thing. Being manipulated as well. The card itself is called Futility, so it's kind of like they're not going to change their mind, and they may also feel like it's futile for people to keep looking, and perhaps also futile for them to expose themselves, because they're all kind of part of a larger group machine, the cog in the machine, so they're not really going to, at least one person is not going to solve this. I feel like this card and combined with that one kind of means, also with this bunch back here, like there's just this thing going on that one person cannot expose themselves. You would have to grab a whole bunch of people at the same time in order to be able to uproot this weed, so to speak. Don't know where that terminology came up, but it did. What else can we find? Oops, there we go. We have some charity here though, because this is the Six of Pentacles, which means that we could potentially see some changes if somebody from higher up were to deem us worthy of such a thing, because the charity card is somebody from upper high with their resources to spend, and perhaps also a reputation that would last beyond any type of accusation that may come forward and say something. This really does look like a situation where somebody has to come up or from on high in order for anything to happen. Now, they might be considering it, or this could be a, well, if I feel like it, I'll let you know type of situation or type of person. What is this? we have the Princess of Discs. So this is the Page of Pentacles. Might be looking at somebody who is a little bit frivolous with spending their resources, their time, may be generous, but may also just be somebody who buys extravagant things. So maybe in that sense, this could be somebody who is likely to be charitable just because they don't really care too much about what happens to their resources, etc. So it may come down to whether they feel like exposing anything or not. So this might be somebody who is very comfortable as they are now, and they really don't feel any pressure or need to expose anything. Might also be somebody who's kind of holding it onto it as almost like a blackmail thing. Like, I know what you did, and as long as you play my game, you've got nothing to worry about, but I can always use this little trump card of mine in case something goes wrong. So there may be people holding things over each other's head to keep them silent. Oh. Okay, so the next card is the Four of Cups. In reverse, this one is called Luxury, kind of what I expected, like somebody who has a good amount of luxury, but this one's in reverse, so it may be that if they get uncomfortable, that they might start talking. So currently they're probably fairly comfortable, but I think as soon as that changes, there might be trouble for whomever they're holding this against, or whose head they're holding it over. Oop, there we go. And they might be related as well, because we have the Lovers here. Or at the very least, they are intertwined in some way, which the candle is also showing. It's kind of twisted together, like their flame burns as one. It could be that this person is committed to whomever has perpetrated this against her. And as long as that commitment stays strong, as long as they don't stab each other in the back, they're probably not going to say anything, so they're going to keep silent. So the main reason why they're not talking is because they have such commitments to each other. But are we ever going to see anything about this? Is somebody else maybe going to bring them to light? What else can we see about this case real quick? Oop. That is the Nine of Cups. Nope, the Eight of Cups, sorry. In reverse, Eight of Cups is walking away, but it's in reverse, so they're definitely not walking away. This one's kind of on its side. It's leaning a little bit towards being reversed, though, so I'll pick it up as such. Anyway, so Eight of Cups, not really planning on walking away because they're just kind of comfortable there, like I said. This is the Eight of Swords, and that is that same mindset that we had over here is still there. Although it's in reverse, it could mean that that mindset has only grown stronger over the years, or it could be that they now realize that actually their ideas back in the day were kind of backwards, antiquated, they no longer apply. But since they do have this bond, they're not going to walk away just yet, even though their mind may have changed. So like I said earlier, if something changes in their connection, we could be seeing some information coming out. I'm thinking maybe somebody who is actually in a relationship. And this is the Four of Pentacles. All right, so they're basically banking on the wealth that they currently have. They're being smart about their financial decision. I was about to say earlier before this card just popped up that this might be a wife or a girlfriend of somebody. Thinking with this card that it might be a wife of somebody who has a bunch of money, so they might be feeling like they would have to give up their comfort if they were to speak out, but they do have information. So it could be that once that comfort goes away, that they decide that they are going to speak out themselves. Oops. Okay, and then we have the Seven of Wands. So Seven of Wands is another, that's the same one over here. So the coming for the position is here again. It could be if they are challenged that they will speak, and that kind of also lines up with what we just said. If their comfort goes away, if they're no longer able to access the resources that they have through their relationship, then they might decide that they're going to challenge their former lover because of the Seven of Wands over here. Because they'll have nothing left to lose, I think. Let's see if we can get one more card. Like, will this happen? Because right now they're currently very comfortable. Okay, I asked if it would happen, and we get the Justice card. So I think, based on these cards right here, that it would only really be a matter of time. Like, they may already kind of see the end of the line coming up. This may be somebody who is in a fairly stable but not romantic or comfortable relationship anymore. They may see that that might change at some point, and then they have plans, so to speak, perhaps also for their own financial security. Maybe they'll plan on holding it over their head, or they're going to just release it and then do the right thing, because we do have Justice here, which I would hope to mean that they would then pull the trigger on their plans of actually exposing what happened to Jang Ja Yeon. In any case, that is what I'm seeing for her. I hope you found it interesting. Be sure to leave a like and a comment. That really helps the channel along. I hope to see you in another video. Thanks for watching, and bye-bye for now.